I was an accidental racist yesterday. We were at a Japanese restaurant yesterday and Hubs ordered beef kushiyaki. We were unsure of the pronunciation. So after he ordered it, how did he do on pronunciation? And the server, who happened to bear facial features typical of those of Asian descent, looked down at me and said, "Oh, I don't know. I don't speak Japanese," with this weird emphasis, right? As if I looked at him and said, "You look Japanese. How do you say it?" But hand to God, I only asked because he works there. I clarified with the server the reason I asked, but it felt like it was too little, too late. I still feel terrible about it. ETA y'all. I didn't say you look Japanese. How do you say it? Single quote. I meant the server reacted as if I had said that. Not be accidental racism. I don't think. I just would have said, "Oh, sorry. I just figured since you work here you would be somewhat familiar with the names of the dishes on the menu," which is fair enough, isn't it? So are ya Chinese or Japanese? He's Laotian. You're fine. Dude works in a Japanese restaurant. It's fair to assume he knows how to pronounce food items, come on. That's not racist, he's fucking stupid for not knowing how to pronounce the food items he is selling to you. He worked there and you're asking him a question about his workplace products that he is paid to sell. I am not Japanese and I've been waitressing at sushi restaurants for a while and I would feel straight stupid for not knowing how to pronounce the menu items. Should have nothing to do with race and everything to do with doing your job. He's bad at his job, woman shrugging, and might be lashing out at you because he thinks he can play a card and get away with it. PLS, don't feel bad, he was rude to you. Servers should know how to pronounce the food they sell. This wasn't your mistake. I've been a server at many restaurants and unless he's a newer server he really has no excuse as to why he gave you such an attitude. You're fine. I promise. Don't feel embarrassed. You didn't do anything wrong. A server should know how to pronounce what they sell. Sometimes people can be hyper vigilant when it comes to things like this. I wouldn't worry about it. Japanese words are always pronounced like they are spelled. It's even simpler than Spanish, which is also easy to pronounce but has some rules, the ku and ll. In quesadilla, for example. By being callously offended, he was basically implying that it was a stupid question and that you might not have asked it if they weren't Asian looking. Also, they fucking work there so should know the menu. Let's keep that in mind here. Give us your P.O. box, we will Amazon you a clan hat and robes. Lol, the Cyber Council has spoken. You did nothing wrong at all. I don't care if my server is a blue-eyed blonde person. If they work there, they should know about the menu, including how to pronounce the fucking menu items. Server was being an ass, he works there and should know how to pronounce the dishes and drinks served there regardless of his prowess with language. Nothing you did was wrong. I don't think I would have said the "you look Japanese" part. Also, I don't think it would be wrong or offensive to try to pronounce things from the menu as phonetically as possible. Was he black? 'Cause that would be a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode. I get people talking to me in Spanish frequently. I'm olive-skinned, Italian woman shrugging. It's the server's job to know. I never know how to pronounce the wines I order, but the server usually does. It wasn't your fault. I hope you're a Seinfeld fan. If so, Jerry once asks a mailman where a Chinese food place was and the mailman, who happened to be Chinese, threw a big fit. All while Jerry is trying to show his date he's not racist, haha. You just asked the server a question, I'd let yourself off the hook, haha. In this thread, people don't know how to read. Jacob, he's my son. Seth, how's that? You don't look Japanese. Jacob, neither does he. He looks Chinese Seth, oh well. Excuse me, all of the hell. From dusk till dawn. Honestly though, since the guy worked there, I don't blame you for asking for the correct pronunciation. It has nothing to do with ancestry or place of origin, but everything to do with representation of the restaurant he works at. Yeah, I don't think asking for the pronunciation of something on their menu is racist at all. It's not racism in the slightest bit. I'm Chinese, don't speak Chinese, and have asked someone who looked zero Chinese how to pronounce something on the menu. If you worked there, then I would assume you would know how to pronounce items on the menu regardless of the language. Lol. Oh, my apologies for thinking you could actually do your job. Servers should probably know how to pronounce food items on the menu of the place he works at. It's not racist, expressionless. Calm down. You know how many times I've been mistaken for being Asian? I could care less. I would ask the server too. They should know how to pronounce the menu. That's not racist. The Japanese sushi restaurant near me does really well for themselves. Always busy. Hibachi and normal tables. None of them are Japanese though. They all speak Mandarin. Took me too long to figure this out. You certainly were not being racist. The fact the server worked at the restaurant, it shouldn't matter if they are Japanese or not. They should know how to say everything on the menu. What they did was blow any kind of tip. He should obviously know how to pronounce the menu items if he works there. If you aren't racist, then don't be ashamed about what you asked. They worked there. It's safe to assume that they would know how to say it. It wouldn't have been racist to ask your server if they were white, so why is it now? Man, that is not racist. It's definitely not an accidental racism. Or any kind of racism. It's perfectly reasonable to assume someone who works at a restaurant would know how to pronounce the names of the menu items. I mean, I would assume a person who works in the restaurant would know the names of the dishes. You did nothing wrong, we're not accidentally racist. I'm Asian. I would not call that racism. Anyone can speak Japanese. It is okay to assume someone would speak Japanese because you're at a Japanese restaurant. Server sounds like a great twat. I think at the very least it is expected of you to be able to pronounce the product of the company you are working for, especially if you are in the customer service line. I had a similar experience when I went to a Mexican restaurant and asked the worker, how do you say this in the beautiful ancient language of your people, quesadilla? He just told me, sir, this is a Taco Bell. This isn't racist, go touch some grass. Haha. Kinda reminds me of a time back in college. I went to a restaurant with a Korean girl, and the host greeted her in Japanese. Was awkward. Next time I show up with a Chinese girl and he greets her in Vietnamese. Then again with a Japanese girl. IDK where you are, but if you're in the USA, most Japanese restaurants here are run by Chinese people. Unrelated, but almost all of the Japanese restaurants in my area have Asian servers that speak Mandarin or Cantonese. It's so funny. Anyway, it's justified to assume that if you work at a restaurant you should know how to pronounce the menu items regardless if the server was Asian or not. Not racist. You need to look up the definition of racist. That was a simple mistaken conclusion based on probability and observation. It's not racism if there is no intent. It's time we all live in world of context and intent. Sorry, but you're getting the death penalty and also going to hell. When I first met my now husband as a coworker, I asked him for help with some Spanish-speaking customers. Never would have crossed my mind he didn't speak Spanish after just telling me he was Puerto Rican. Lol.